All right, Sin City Beat is back, and this time we're hitting the Raiders hard, from the Ashton Jeanty injury to Fernando Mendoza's grade in preseason Game 2. We got you covered. Let's do this thing. Sin City Beat starts right now.
From Las Vegas, this is Sin City Beat.
Hello and welcome. Thanks so much for joining us here on Sin City Beat. I'm your host, Mike Davis. Sin City Beat is the show that dissects the Vegas sports world through the eyes of the sports reporters and storytellers leading the charge. Joining the action on the panel today, we got Q Myers, host of ESPN Las Vegas and Raider Nation Radio, Case Kiefer, assistant sports editor of the Las Vegas Sun, and Tony Cordasco. There he is, host with Odyssey Sports. Great to have you guys here. Let's start with the biggest news to drop this weekend. Raiders fans, of course, gasping upon hearing the initial Ashton Jeanty injury reports from training camp. What could have been a lot worse ended up being what is believed to be just a sprained ankle. A big break for Raider Nation. Q, you were there when this all went down. Tell us, what did it look like? What were the sights and sounds?
Well, it was unfortunate because it was in the indoor facility, so whenever they practice indoors, we're always in the end zone, and we're really far away. And of course, it happened on the far sideline next to the weight room, so we really didn't get to see a good angle of exactly what happened. I know he dove for a ball, and he came up short, and it just fell awkwardly. But I couldn't tell if it was his knee, if it was his ankle. I didn't know what was going on. I just knew he wasn't getting up. And everyone in the building knew it wasn't getting up. So you want to talk about a big gasp, not only from Raider Nation, but everyone there, right? We've all talked about how important Ashton Jeanty is going to be for this team this year. And to see him not get up was like, oh no. Everyone takes a knee like they always do. And then he tries to get up and put some weight on it, and he can't. So then it's like, oh no. He gets a couple trainers. They help him off. And then the team takes another knee. And they have like a moment of silence, even like a prayer. And so at that moment, as I'm reading body language, I'm like, oh my gosh, there goes the season, right? Everything's a wrap. Thinking the worst, and didn't want to speculate on what it was because that would be reckless. And come to find out it's an ankle injury, but we don't know the severity of it. So he's a big key cog to this team. They need to make sure he's healthy. Is he going to miss a couple games? Maybe, possibly. We'll find out sooner rather than later. But it sounds like the worst was avoided, which is a good thing for Jeanty.
Okay, I mean, the two knees, that is troubling when you hear that. So it could be worse. We don't know the exact status of the situation right now, but at least it's not that ACL thing right away.
And that was speculated, and all kind of different speculation. Oh, it was a non-contact injury, and of course that's coming from people that aren't even in the building or weren't even there at practice. And I'm thinking, what are you talking about? I was trying to navigate through 25 different guys, large human beings, trying to see what's going on, and you're telling me it's a diagnosis of this, that, and the other. There's a lot of online doctors, let's put it like that. And so, it seems like they avoided the major injury.
Okay, Tony, what about you? Let's just break this down. When you heard the news, the initial reports from Ryan McFadden, ESPN, a guy who's been on this show many times, what did you think?
Well, first, it did sound like it was a non-contact injury, according to reports from credible media people, right? And then they said that and here goes the debate, right? Why are you playing on the turf, practicing indoors? We get it, turf versus grass and all that. My concern now, again, that's all in the past, and we did find out, and there were, was there a collision? I mean, there was a report. Was there a collision?
It was a little. Him and Darian Porter bumped into each other. It wasn't. It wasn't some massive.
It wasn't
collision.
like a massive midair collision of sorts. And he just goes down awkwardly and gets injured, which happens, right?
Yep.
Now it does depend on the severity, as Q said, of the injury. If it's a high ankle sprain, those things don't go away,
no.
And that's going to linger for a long time. So it just now depends on the severity of what that injury is, how soon he can get back.
Yeah. Case, Ashton Jeanty, a guy who was, a top 6 draft pick in the NFL 2 years ago. This is a guy we're waiting to finally see him with an adult offensive line, with a run zone blocking scheme that's sophisticated in the Kubiak Shanahan mind. What do you think about just the potential of him not playing at 100% and being a part of this new look Raiders team? And then you add in the fact of Mike Washington and all the juice that he's demonstrating. There's a lot of puzzle pieces here to think about.
Well, ever since before the draft last year, I had the unpopular Ashton Jeanty opinion. So why not throw out some more? First of all, I'll say I hate it for the kid. He seems great. He put a ton of work in. He's going to be a big part of the passing game for sure, and he still will be when he's healthy. So I hate it for him. I'm hoping the best for him. However, I'm not overreacting to the injury, especially now that we got the good news. I do think, I'll recklessly speculate. I respect Q for saying he won't. I still think he probably misses us a game or two, but I think the Raiders are going to be just fine. I've made a small living going against people overreacting to running back injuries. This is why I didn't want him to take him at number 6. Running backs get injured, and there are so many good running backs in the NFL. You can usually figure it out with a few weeks without a running back. I think Mike Washington has really spiked a lot throughout this training camp. I don't think they trust him as much. There's some worries with his ball security. Yeah, there's some worries about him and blocking, but I really think he's not going to be out for the season, it sounds like. I think they'll be just fine without Ashton Jeanty. I get that it's a big story, but this isn't changing my expectations in any way for the Raiders.
It's just interesting because, yes, you alluded to Mike Washington. He had fumble issues in college, but Jeanty was supposed to be special.
That's the thing. He is special.
It's not just like an average running back. He's supposed to be a game changer.
And I respect everything that Case is saying about the running back position. He's not wrong, but this is a different dude. Right, what we saw from Mike Washington in the preseason games where he broke off a couple big runs, those are Jeanty touchdowns, right? Where they weren't Mike Washington touchdowns. Jeanty's a special player, and in an offense that is halfway decent, which I believe this offense is going to be, an offensive line, like you said, has a leader in the room, an adult in the room. He's going to be even more special. And knowing, as Clint Kubiak has referred to him as Christian McCaffrey-like, not saying he's C-Mac, but he said, I envision him as a Christian McCaffrey-type role. He's a big part of this offense. And when you don't have a number one wide receiver, they don't, and you have Brock Bowers, it's really the Brock and Ashton show. And then Mike Washington's he's the side dish. I keep saying Ashton Jeanty's the bone-in ribeye, right? Mike Washington is like the mac and cheese, which is great. You love the mac and cheese, but you come for the bone-in ribeye.
See, now you were saying that you actually think those breakaway runs, the 53-yarder, you think
those are touchdowns
for Jeanty?
Yes, absolutely. Those are touchdowns.
Wow,
yeah, okay. Mike Washington got swooped from behind. There was a good angle on the first one, and the second one, maybe messing around his legs a little bit,
But Jeanty takes him to the house.
Yeah, Jeanty has shown you that last year.
All right, there you go. All right, coming up, the panel's going to go into teacher mode. We're going to give out grades for Fernando Mendoza's performance against the Texans. That's next.
You're watching Sin City Beat.
All right, welcome back to Sin City Beat. Preseason game 2 for top pick Fernando Mendoza went differently than his debut. Getting the start, he went 8 for 15 on 86 yards passing with a pick 6 and a QB rating of 42.6. So not a disappointing encore to what was really encouraging preseason debut versus Arizona. So Tony, what grade would you give Mendoza for his performance so far this preseason?
Overall preseason, a B, a solid B. I think he's still a work in progress. I think he's learning. We see glimpses of greatness. That 22-yard bullet pass to Jalen Naylor was exceptional on the slant. I was like, okay, this is what this guy can become within this offense. But then the interception, which they tried to blame on Washington Jr. on TV, he drifted away and he threw that pass. It was a poorly thrown pass. What disappointed me was it's a preseason game, for crying out loud. Why are you chasing what ass or whatever? Sorry, I didn't swear, did I?
No.
Why are you chasing this guy downfield?
It's always you, man. You always start every time we get in trouble. It's because of you.
It's me. Here comes the FCC. But he's diving after the guy, the linebacker, and
you're hoping he doesn't get hurt.
Smash your shoulder right there.
Right.
Like, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, no, let him go. It's preseason, for crying out loud. But definitely a B, and I think he understands what he's doing right. He knows what he's doing wrong. I like that they're putting him under center. I like some of the stuff that they've run with him. And I just think he's still learning. But again, when you see those flashes of brilliance there, like on some of those bullet passes, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And his receivers also have to hang on to the football.
And listen, he's a rookie. It's the second game of his career, a preseason game. It's going to be a mixed bag. It's funny because everybody knows my affinity for this guy, and I'm even over the weekend getting emails to my Fox 5 email from viewers who are like, oh, he threw a pick. Well, there goes your guy, Right. I mean, so Q, let's just break down what we can actually talk about. I mean, let's just from a body language standpoint, how do you think he responded as a rookie after throwing that
was the biggest thing for me, is that he did bounce back well, right? He didn't hang his head. He didn't look like he was, distraught or anything. It's just, okay, clear it and let's get back. And that's the thing that I've noticed so far in cases there at practice. He can tell you as well. When he makes mistakes, he doesn't beat himself up about it. He's able to clear it. Trey Tucker used a line yesterday that I thought was kind of cool, using windshield wipers, right? You just kind of gone, right? And so that's kind of what's in Fernando's mentality. I didn't like the pick six. I don't like the fact that 2 weeks in a row he set Mike Washington Jr. up for failure. The first week he gets lit up, on a hospital ball, and then the next week, he gets throws the pick six. And there's something to be said about maybe Mike continue to drift a little bit, but also as the quarterback, that's your job to protect your guy as well. So there's little things here and there that he's going to continue to get better at. The fact that in week 1 against the Cardinals, he was under center 10 times. He was only under center 5 times his whole year last year at Indiana. And he was under center 10 times in one game. Yeah. So he's obviously growing in that position.
And of course, the other college stat people were referring to is that in his entire collegiate career, he threw 1 pick six.
Right.
And he did it in his preseason game 2. Case, you've been at practice. You've been talking about Mendoza all training camp long. What's your read on him? What's your grade?
Yeah, I thought I was going to be the forgiving one and say probably in that B minus range. You see the flashes, and that's the biggest things. There's going to be ups and downs as a rookie. I will say I'm probably a little bit more concerned about the turnovers than I've heard the Raiders fan base at large, because it's like every day in practice he's throwing picks or people are dropping picks. I don't know how many dropped interceptions the guy has. I really am a little bit worried about his taking care of the ball. So if I have to give him one big black mark, it would be there, the red mark, the X. I'm worried about the turnovers. Otherwise, I think he's shown enough flashes. You see the read, the way he's progressing. I think he's made good strides under center, and all the intangibles are there. So I still think you'd be bullish on the guy, but I do think he needs to take care of the ball a little bit better.
And the other thing about it is this offense is really such a timing offense that the receivers have to do their job to get where they're supposed to be, right? Because the ball is going to be delivered where it should be. And if you're not there, then those bad things could happen as well. So I kind of take it with a grain of salt. He's right about the turnovers. Like, he's got to be able to clean that up. I feel like he will, just because we kind of know his work ethic already and who he is. But does he have the receivers? Does he have those guys that are going to separate, get themselves where they need to be on time?
Guys, he's going with the twos, though, now. Like, how was he during the joint practice with the first team?
He's been doing ones and twos. He's been doing ones and twos.
So he's got to be much better with the ones, obviously.
You went up against the Texans once, so that's those guys are those are bloodthirsty
and
pirates,
he did okay,
man. Those
though,
dudes.
right? He held his own.
He did all right, threw a pick six. We were calling a spade a spade. It was the Texans' defense is nasty, and so he threw a pick six in practice, in that joint practice. So matter of fact, it looked like the same thing. He threw a pick six. He was going towards Jeanty during the joint practice, and the pick six in the game was to Mike Washington. So just saying, there's a few similarities there.
Okay, very interesting stuff. All right, guys. Now, the last preseason game for the Raiders is going down this Thursday. The 49ers come to town. Who needs to bounce back the most in this game? We're going to break it all down after these words. Well, the Raiders take on the 49ers in preseason action this Thursday, and as the preseason slate is set to wrap up, I want to know from Case Kiefer, who is in major need of a big bounce back game, Case.
All right, I'm going to give you 2 position groups, one offense, one defense. Wide receiver is the highlight. You've heard Clint Kubiak call him out, saying we need some guys to step up. They need better wide receiver play. It was a concern going into training camp. I thought they looked good early, but have kind of regressed. They need some guys to step up a wide receiver. If we want to get a little bit deeper, one thing I'm worried about, we're going to see a lot of twos. I'm really worried about the twos, the linebacker depth. That they got to have some of these linebackers step up, both Eichenberg and Lindenberg, who they kind of hitched their wagon to, thinking they could back up the Quay Walker and the Kobe Dean new signings. I think both of them kind of regressed, didn't look great against the Texans. I think you really need another linebacker to step up as well.
Okay, so wide receiver room, we kind of know everything about that. That's been the big topic in terms of needing an improvement all off season long. The linebacker depth, that's a good point there. Tony, what are you going with in terms of a bounce back game?
Well, to me, the wide receivers as well. And again, Clint Kubiak wasn't pleased with their play and the drops. Malik Benson had that drop, and I think Jalen Naylor had a drop in the game. Again, they just need to get off the line of scrimmage, get on the same page as whoever the quarterback is going to be. And then the secondary, I'm saying this is an improvement, but they only allowed 5 yards per pass completion. in the last game. So that's a big improvement. Now they need to take another step. The secondary, I think, to me, after that first game, is a major concern.
Okay, Q, I have a follow-up question piggybacking on what Tony was just
Let's go
talking
with
about. At what point, and especially, and this is kind of part of the point of what you were saying in the last block, at what point does Fernando Mendoza's growth get stunted because he doesn't have wide receivers that are a la Cooper Kupp, Jackson Smith, and Jigba? You see when wide receivers of that caliber, even a Kupp who's not performing at his height, he's still a coach on the field. Yeah. So that helps Sam Darnold become a Super Bowl winning quarterback. At what point does not making that trade for Justin Jefferson, not having elite wide receivers and veterans who are high level, where does that start to impact his growth and his potential?
I think that's definitely a big part of it. I think that's a big part of the reason why they're not so set in stone or starting them week one, right? It's not that he can't go out there and execute. It's like, who's around him? What's the offensive line look like? What do the weapons look like, to your point? I think that has a major part of it, because, again, if you're not getting to the certain spot you're supposed to get to on time, it's going to be bad. It's going to be incompletion. It's going to be a turnover. This is a timing-led offense. The ball is going to get there. One of the first things they did, I noticed in training camp, and Case probably noticed it as well, is the first couple of days was real, I don't want to say slow, but they were just trying to learn, and it looked like they were learning, all right, how many steps does it take Naylor to get to this spot? How many steps does it take Thornton to get to this spot? How many steps does it take Besh to get? Like, trying to get down the timing so they know, all right, if this is the route that you're running, we know that it's going to take him a certain amount of steps, and boom, that ball's got to be there. Everything is about timing, and you've got to be that guy. So I just think what's going to happen, they're not going to make a trade. I don't think there's not a wide receiver one tree out there that you can go pluck a tree for a guy from and say, hey, he's going to be the guy. I think they're going to go trial by fire. They're going to let it rip this season. Brock Bowers is your number one target. And then in the offseason, they're going to say, all right, what do we need? Do we need a wide receiver one? Let's go get it. That's how it's going to have to shake out.
One other question about bounce back. Because a lot of people who are, if you're really enthralled in Raiders Twitter or X or just you really know Raiders ball, Jordan Meredith is a guy everybody keeps talking about.
Is he still on the team?
He is.
He might not be in a week or two. I think he's firmly on the bubble. And maybe the wrong
sure.
He needs a bounce back game. Anybody else that comes to mind?
Jordan Meredith needs a lot, man. I mean, I don't want to sound disrespectful, but man, I don't even know if a bounce back game is good for him. He's on the struggle bus. I'll say this guy, Malcolm Kuntz. And I don't even know if he's going to play. I mean, that's the thing about Thursday. We don't know who's going to play. Do they treat this like a real game that they want to see one more, just what you have?
Or are their minds already made up?
Or are their minds already made up and they're just trying to get to Sunday when it's cut down day? Like, we don't know. I think Malcolm Kuntz, who they gave another 1-year deal, and it's about $10 million on the books, I think he needs to show up. I mean, I haven't seen 51 out there except for at the podium. I mean, to be honest, he hasn't really caught anyone's attention. And I like Malcolm. I think that he has a lot of juice that he can bring to the table, but we just haven't seen it yet.
Okay, great points there. Coming up, we're projecting the Raiders' 53-man roster. Who gets cut? Who makes the cut? We got it all. Up next on Sin City Beat. The preseason schedule wraps up on Thursday as the San Francisco 49ers come to town, but it's a quick turn around for the front office as this Sunday at 6 p.m. marks the time that NFL rosters need to be cut down to 53 players. So Q, who is a big name potential roster cut that you see happening?
Are you going to start off with Meredith?
No, I'm not going to go there. I'm going to start with Malcolm Kuntz. I mentioned him before. I'm going to mention Malcolm Kuntz. I know that the salary is pretty high to be a guy that would get cut, but I just think that they're in the 1 year, first year with Clint Kubiak, first year with Rob Leonard. I think they need guys that they feel very comfortable that they can count on. I just don't know if Malcolm Kuntz is that guy you can count on yet. I like him a lot. I love and we always go back to what he did at the second half of 2023 was fantastic. If you can get that guy, you're a gem. But that guy hasn't shown up since the second half of 2023 because of injury. And then last year he came on slow towards the end of the season. But, I mean, I would like to see him just get out the gates and be fantastic, but we just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I mean, he carries a big price tag, but that would be a big name. Yeah. A big name if he got cut. Case in the green room, you're saying, why do we have to go negative? How about somebody who makes the team who, from a positive standpoint? So take it either way.
It fits perfectly with what Q said. I don't even know if it's a hot take anymore because he's flashed, but the only other guy on this team other than Max Crosby that's getting consistent pressure is Cian Sloan. And if I mispronounce his name, I'm sorry, but the undrafted rookie free agent, he's been unbelievable. I think I'm penciling him into the roster right now, especially I love Q's bold take, but if Malcolm Kuntz doesn't make it, look out for this guy because he seems like he has the goods, really great bend, and has really been getting after the
A
quarterback.
lot of energy, a lot of energy.
Interesting.
That dude, and I don't like to put comparisons, but they're saying he's got that Max Crosby motor, right, where he just doesn't stop. And that's the starting point as far as I'm concerned. Now, I'm not going to put him in the same category as Max. I don't want to do that. But he's got that kind of motor. He's a guy that I think a lot of people like a lot.
Well, you can't teach a motor like that. All right, so we like that. Do you want to throw in somebody who could get cut?
I think cornerback's going to be an interesting one to watch. Earlier in training camp, I think both DeCam Richardson and Greedy Vance did some good things.
Yep.
The way I look at it, I think you'd only keep one of those two guys. So Vance or Richardson, who does this coaching staff like more? And I'm not 100% certain.
Okay, Tony, 2 minutes. You can give us a positive and a negative.
You want me to fill up the full two?
Oh, gee. Only
I
if it's
got
quality,
stuff to
though.
What about Deontay Thornton? He's been really quiet, right, in camp.
He's not going to get cut.
Will he go to the practice squad? That's the
No,
guy.
he'll
He's
get-
not even on the bubble.
No, he won't.
What has
If
he done though?
if
Like,
he-
that's
he
my
get claimed.
question.
That's
Yeah,
what saved
if
him.
he
I
goes
always
to
have
the
to stir
practice
it up, Mike.
squad-
You know.
And
Yeah,
Practice squad, maybe?
no, if he goes to the practice squad, he's going to get claimed.
Yeah, I just think that's the concern. I think that's why you say
he's a
someone will
short-term
play.
IR guy candidate. That's how I look at him. Short-term IR. He's only in his second year. He's got too much size and speed. They're not going to just throw him away like that. No way.
I mean, it's a weak wide receiver room to begin with, so I don't know. He still has potential, but he does have to show up.
What wide receiver would you give up?
I mean, you gave up Thornton. I mean, I wouldn't give him up. That's for sure.
Thornton
who
probably
would you give up,
I
though?
think
That's
Thornton
what my
probably
point
would be
is.
the one to give up, and he probably has no chance to make the team. He's a 6th-round pick, but he's a 3rd-round pick with the size, with the speed, like
Yeah.
you said. I think NFL teams are probably just terrified of then saying, what if someone claims him
Yep.
and he becomes this great success story somewhere else? Would be saying,
have one-
same old Raiders. They
You
gave
have
up
one
on
wide
this guy.
receiver to cut. Who is it though? That's the question. Who would you cut?
It's your question.
I mean, Derek Young, I know he's a special teams guy. That might make him there, but he's a guy
Yeah.
kind of on the bubble.
Shedrick Jackson. You know, there's a couple guys in there, but Thornton ain't one of them.
Okay, all right, we'll see what happens.
I like to stir.
How about that? How about that?
Listen,
Thornton ain't one of them.
He's not going to be
start-
one of them. We
let
don't
me
think.
stir it up. Let me stir it up.
Tony, you got to get on that depth chart. That's what I think. We
Yeah.
need you.
Wide
some of the
receiver? I got good hands.
Curl route. I can see it happening,
I won't
guys.
drop any passes.
Thanks so much for being here. As always, I'm Mike Davis. That's Tony. That's Q. That's Case. We'll see you next time here for Sin City Beat.